Get started. There we go.
I take it.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. This is
All right. Good luck
David
at Bocce.
Cohen going to be telling us all how to break the rules.
Okay,
Yeah.
am I ready to share?
You
Go for it. Bye.
Let me make sure I have
Hi.
multiple. You ready to share, Dave? Yeah. Go for it.
Okay, so can everyone see that folder?
Yes.
So basically, this is not like one of those workshops where I tell you, this is exactly how you do this, and this is exactly how you do that. This is just really food for thought. Picasso said, learn the rules like a pro, which you guys been learning all year, so you can break them like an artist. And the idea really is every artist breaks the rules differently. If you look at modern art, Picasso is very different than Rothko or Miro or any of the other modern artists that we see. So everyone chooses to break the rules in different ways. So I'm going to show you a lot of stuff. You know, it may not be your taste. I'm just trying to, again, open your mind to there are other ways of doing things once you know the rules. So I'm just going to start, and if anyone has any questions along the way, just ask. The first one was, you know, we're told like when you're shooting a face, don't crop the face or the body, and you know, but there are times you want to do it and it creates tension, and why is this not opening? There we go. So this was a shot of a guy I took in Little Havana, and he was very friendly, and I loved his gold tooth and whatever. And it, you know, it's a nice shot. But
Dave, can you make that bigger?
no, I can't.
Really?
Double click on it.
You don't see it?
I see
Yeah,
the.
tiny.
I'm only seeing thumbnails.
Really? You're not seeing the big one?
No.
No.
Double click on
We
it.
see, we have 12 pictures.
Yeah,
12
no, but
thumbnails.
when I click on it, you don't see it?
No,
Click on it and then come back to it again. Open it on your screen. Unshare.
Unshare.
Unshare your screen.
Okay.
And behind, go back onto your folder, get them up large, and then go back to share screen. Because all we're seeing is little itty bitty thumbnails.
Okay, well, let me.
That might be the problem because they're on the desktop.
Not necessarily.
You want me to open all of them? It'll take forever.
You could open them all just through preview.
Okay, sorry, guys.
It's all right.
Let me just show you this,
Okay, go ahead. Let's see what you got.
if it
I
works.
said,
Hi.
Okay, so.
now share screen. Yeah.
sorry.
Oh, we see it good now.
You see that?
We see the gold tooth.
Right.
Two
So
gold teeth.
this was the original. And then this is what I did with it. I know it's, you know, against the rules to crop off the rest of his face, but I loved his smile and the tooth. And this was, the Boca Museum chose this for a gallery show. So I think sometimes when you break the rules,
We gotta see the other one, Dave. We're seeing the original.
the other one is up.
Not here.
They're both up.
We don't
Only-
see them.
you only see one.
So
Yeah.
click out of it and click back on the other one.
Do you see it now?
Yeah.
No,
No. But we see.
Okay, I'm sorry, guys. I don't know what the problem is because this is what I always do.
Hit escape. Maybe you'll get rid of something that just came on there.
No,
I think we get the gist of it, though.
No,
No,
I-
I want to see how he cropped it, but the original is excellent.
how far
Hey,
down
go
did you
out of
crop?
Go out of the share mode and just and focus on the one picture, the other one.
go out of the share
You may
mode.
have to go back and forth between share for now. I don't know how else to help you here. and call the other one up and then share that one.
Well, 1 second.
Close that one.
I'm
Oh,
trying.
there it is. No, it's not.
Unshare.
Do you
Alright,
see?
unshare again and close that whole picture so it doesn't
Okay.
close out of your desktop.
Okay. Sorry, guys.
It's all right, I'm trying to figure out
I don't know how else this is gonna take forever then, if we're gonna do it this way, so.
Dave, if you take the whole folder, highlight them all,
Right,
okay? And then say open in preview. And then share the preview screen.
1 second. Okay, I've highlighted them all.
Okay, and now you're gonna go, there should be a right click option to open with, and you're gonna open them with preview.
I don't know where that is, I'm sorry.
Right click.
If
A
you,
right click with your mouse.
if you click over the whole selection inside with your mouse, there should be something. If you click over the pictures that are all,
Let me try one other thing.
okay,
Let me just. I have folders within a folder. Let me take them out. Let's try this. Sorry.
Hi, Leslie.
Hi. Sorry, I'm a little late to the,
It's okay.
right, we're having technical difficulties.
oh, Mahjong ran a little late. Sorry.
Did you win?
Yes, I did make a couple of Mahjongs. Thank you.
1 second. Okay. Now I'm just gonna try this. Do you see the big picture?
No.
Back to the original small.
Yeah, I don't know what else to do, guys. I'm sorry.
Could you send them all to Anne and she could
That's
open
what I'm
them for
thinking.
you?
Send me the folders and I'll try to do it I'll try to do them here.
They're big folders.
Well,
I honestly, I apologize. I don't know what to do. This has always worked before. I mean,
Oh. He disappeared.
They're disappearing. Are they going to Anne?
I'm taking them off. So let me try this. Okay, stop share. Now I'm gonna share this. Second. Okay.
all right, let's see what happens now.
Yeah, 1 second. Oof. Okay. Do you see that?
Yes,
Yeah.
You see that?
Yes.
yes.
We can,
Good.
yeah, we can do it.
So,
Yeah.
so that was the difference. Again, there's nothing wrong with the first picture. I just wanted to do something different with it. And I knew I was entering it into a gallery show and I just wanted to do something that felt different. So again, I'm not saying that you should crop out faces. I'm just saying that sometimes it's worth trying. And again, breaking the rules. So here's some more. So again, this, was, I think it was at the Witches ride. And, it's not your typical portrait. It's not, seeing her whole face. You're basically seeing a little bit of her profile and her eyelashes. But I guess for me, the idea of breaking rules is not just to break rules, but to see if you can create some interest and get people to look at it. So, I mean, here's an extreme version. This, and it's soft, but it kind of went with the lips to me too. And it felt like a poster.
David, when he uses the term soft, he's talking about there's a very, very soft focal point. There's no real clarity. It's intentionally set to be soft. I go back to the other one for a minute, the witches, the one, yeah. So I'm going to ask you something. When you saw this and you decided to look at this shot, what was it that you felt about it?
I just loved her, honestly, her mess of hair.
Okay,
And just being able to see her eyes and that little bit of sparkle through it.
that's what did it for me, was the eyelashes and the sparkle and the unruly, messy blonde hair. That's so, in essence, that was your intent, and that's what you wanted to capture, and that's in essence what you did.
Right.
Yeah.
Again, but it goes against all the good rules of portraiture or character. But again, I find it interesting. This was a picture I took of a guy. Sorry. I've just found it very interesting. All this white space, I like the shape of his eye, the little gray in his hair. Yes, it's not a full portrait, but I just thought it was an interesting way to see him. And then here's another. Again, just really focused on his eyes and his hair. Again, not everyone will like this, but it's just, there are different ways to crop pictures. So here is just a collage, if you will. If you look at the lower left, the guy there, I cropped him because I just like the tilt of his head and that eye. And again, to me, there's something intriguing about seeing a picture like that. And some of the other people, the guys, I just see one eye, like the guy next to him, the guy one ear and the cross hanging from his ear. I thought that kind of told me who he was. So the others are just kind of interesting close-ups. But again, for me, it was breaking the rules, but I thought in an interesting way. Now I'm going to try to get the other shots out, and hopefully I may have to go off again. Let me just just 1 second. Sorry, this is taking so long.
Right, I'm glad you're getting it. I'm glad we're figuring it out. So,
I was gonna say the first shot would be of interest to the dentists.
Yes,
If they have a gallery.
I'm
I
laughing.
think,
I
can you
have,
see this?
well,
Yeah.
this started
Yeah.
to look like Barbara Maker's desktop screen.
Can you guys see the picture I just blew up?
Yes,
Yes.
Oh, okay, so I don't have to keep going in and out. Okay, so this was just, I came across by Atlantic Avenue, this couple sitting in a bar, and I purposely went to the side because it looked like a rendezvous, if you will, without seeing their faces. And this was chosen by a gallery in Boston. And they just liked it, again, because it was intriguing, it was different. I could have shot them looking at them straight on and seeing their full bodies and faces, but just seeing a piece of them was intriguing.
and notice the tilt of how you would say, well, it's crooked by intent.
Right.
Yeah.
I just thought, again, for me, and it's totally subjective, it just added some tension and energy to the shot by tilting it. This is another shot, took on beach, and I just loved the idea that all you saw of the guy was his arm and his hand caressing her face.
Yeah.
Again, yes, it would be a beautiful shot to see them kissing, but somehow this felt more mysterious to me. And again, it's about not intentionally looking to break rules, but trying to see if there's any other ways of looking at things. I passed this in West Palm, and I didn't even see the people. I just saw their shoes sticking out. And you knew they were sitting in this little alcove having some kind of conversation. Again, thought it was interesting.
And reflection on top of everything else in that shot.
Yeah. And I also like the lines and
A
the,
lot of textures and graphic on the floor and the cement, yeah.
so.
David, I have a question.
Sure.
Okay, so when you showed us that kind of like montage of all the different
Right.
portraits, so when you shoot, thank you, when you shoot these people, do
Mhm.
you ask them if you could take a picture of them? Are you doing it with a telephoto lens so they don't even know that you're taking the picture?
Everyone here with somebody I asked. And usually I've found that people are flattered that you want to take their picture. The Asian woman, for example, she was like shocked that I would want to take her.
She's so willing.
She kept going, me? You have a great face. I would love to take your picture. There are occasions where people say no, and it's fine. Thank you. And I just walk away. But most people, and like I will never take a picture of a kid without asking the parent. Is
Right.
it okay if I can take her picture? And this kid was just mugging for me. She was wonderful.
I was gonna say, when you ask them, then they try to pose for you, but you want to capture them more naturally, right?
Well, but sometimes when they know their picture is taken, I enjoy those pictures. I enjoy the picture of the kid mugging. I enjoy the picture of the lady posing. They're just fun. Yeah, you want to. There are some pictures that are just you catch them off guard, natural. But then there are sometimes they have great smiles or they have a great look, and just looking into camera is wonderful.
So Leslie, a point here that has helped me with this, because I've gotten so much better with this and more comfortable, is I watch somebody for a little while first when I decide that, gee, this is somebody I want to shoot. And I decide in my mind what it is about them that I like, that has got me pulled, that makes me want to shoot them. And I use that in my conversation with them when I make my approach. And it might love the earrings, or I love the patterns on the dress, or I love the guy's smile, whatever it might be. Love his hat and his tie, his coat, whatever it is. But sort that out in your mind first. And then if you're real about how you really feel about that, most people are very good with that then. They really are. And then I'd say, just go about, just do whatever you were doing. And I just want to take some candid shots if you don't want them to pose, look at the camera. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
Usually,
you.
When you want to say, can I take your picture, they immediately pose. And then often I say, well, now just go about doing what you were doing. And so I get a range of shots.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, just a few more in this category, but this.
Do you ever offer to send them the picture?
Um,
Or does anybody ask you for it?
I
they
do all the time.
They do. And I usually, honestly, for me, I ask them to write down their email address and I send it to them rather than give them mine. But that's just me. I mean, they get it anyway when I send it to them. but-
Yeah, I do a lot of that too. But I usually do send them and ask them. Yeah. They're very appreciative.
So this picture, again, this woman was doing all these gymnastics, flying down from the ceiling and everything, and I had the full shot of her. But I thought I loved the way the fabric went and her leg and her arms sticking in, so I cropped it. And again, this got a nod from the Spider Awards, and again, to me, there's something interesting. I always like to look at, is there a different way to crop it? A crop it that makes it a little special, a little different.
This looks
Not-
like a slow shutter speed with a little motion to it too also, Dave?
Yeah.
Yeah, a little motion in it.
So That's me. I also had this other shot that I loved. It was, and I think Anne remembers it. It was a group of guys, and they were praying together.
Oh, yeah, down on the beach.
Right. And then I just cropped the hell out of it to just get the
Sense-
camaraderie of them, their arms around each other. So yeah, I've cut off heads and I've cut off parts of bodies and everything, but I think you get the connection between these guys.
It's
And
much more intimate. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So that's another thing. And then the last thing in this category was just to show you, you can crop body parts. This was the flamingo. I cropped his head off. Well, I didn't crop it, but he put his head in the water, and I just thought it was funny. And it was the first recognition I got at the Valencia Falls Club. Another rule that we always hear about is don't have the subject moving towards the edge of the frame, and be careful which way they're going. They usually should be going to the right, not to the left. And I'm hoping you let me.
And that's because that's the way you read.
Right, unless you read Hebrew. Sorry, I'm just gonna pull all these off so we don't have to keep going
I'm
in.
taking a picture of your screen so I can show Barbara Maker.
So this, besides being an ICM shot with these three women walking down the beach, I showed this to some people, and I like the softness of it too. I like, they almost looked like a vision, not real. But someone said to me, "Oh, but you can't do that because all the space is behind them, and they're walking off." But that's what I liked. I liked the tension of they're about to go off the screen and the waves behind them. And then someone said, "Well, you should flip the picture so at least they're walking to the right." Yeah, but you always see people walking to the right. There was something about it. Again, it's very subjective, very personal, but for me, this created a tension that a normal, centered, clear shot of them just wouldn't do the same thing for me.
So if I can, to clarify this also for others to know, it's not as if you took the shot and then said, well, they're walking out of the frame, but I like it. I
Right.
imagine, David, when you looked at this and you went to frame it and you went to compose it, you intentionally made
Right.
them walk to the left out of the frame. You
Right.
waited for that. You stalked that. That's
Yep.
what you shot. It wasn't like I shot it, came home, looked at it, said, yeah, it's okay. They're going out of the frame. It was by intent. So
Yes.
look at your compositions. Yeah.
So here's another perfect example of intent. Oh, come on. Why isn't this opening? There you go. So this was at Bicycle Races. Again, it's an ICM shot. But I liked the back tire had this optical illusion stuff in it. And when it moved, I just found it really fascinating, incredible. And I just wanted to focus on that. And again, this has won some awards. And he's totally off the screen. And it's just about the wheel. But it's a bicycle.
What is ICM?
ICM is intentional camera movement.
Oh.
So it's like I was actually moving the camera and panning it. So that created the blur of all that background. And
Do you also, I'm sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
Do you also shoot at a slower shutter speed when you're doing the ICM?
Sometimes, yes, usually I do.
Yes,
Yeah.
usually.
You don't have to, but
Really low, sometimes not as low. Sometimes, Leslie, it's a matter of just panning the camera this way. Sometimes matter of turning the camera. Sometimes it's a matter of turning the barrel of the lens and holding the camera dead still and getting a zoom burst. So there's all kinds of different ways to manipulate your camera where the shutter speed is a little slower, so you get a different sense of motion to the picture.
And Leslie, it also depends on what the light is.
Yeah.
So, you know, at night, things tend to blur easier without your having to lower the shutter speed necessarily.
Right.
So you get that effect. But again, it's not an effect that I do all the time, but it's fun to try now and then.
Thank you.
This was just another shot of, I intentionally shot these women running and going off the screen with the space behind them. To me, it created more tension and more sense that they were moving than if I had kept them at the left side of the screen, and all the space was in front of them. So again, I can't say it enough. It's just it's all personal and it's all subjective. Here, this won a few awards. It was a dancer. I'm not showing her face. I'm just showing her back. But to me, it created a mood, and I loved seeing her from the back and seeing her outfit from the back.
It's interesting also the choices you make, Dave, with what you shoot and leave in color and what you decide to move back to black and white.
Well, this I've done in both, actually. It's also very pretty in color, but this was another one. I just loved this woman. She had stuff on her face. She had that spider earring. She had the shoulder. I wanted to get it all in, and I wanted to get it all close up so you could see it. So I, again, don't mind that she's near the edge of the frame. I know it bothers some people, but to me, it just really focuses on her and her personality. So another thing, I'll just go through this quickly because we'll move on to other stuff. So this woman I just caught her between those two umbrellas, those two green umbrellas. And again, just, yes, she's walking. Should I shoot in front of her? I just happen to love seeing all the colors of the other umbrellas as I zoomed in on her here.
And then you gave it a burst motion mode.
Yep.
And that was done through software.
Yes.
Was that ICM or you blurred it after?
Yeah, that was done through software. You can do that in Photoshop Elements.
Yes.
You want to go back to that for a minute and just tell them whereabouts
Sure.
because there's something here also that's interesting is
In
Photoshop Elements, but the woman is herself. He masks her out so the woman is not affected by the mask that's put on to make everything else zoom.
Actually, honestly, Anne, I didn't put a mask.
Okay, you didn't need it. Okay,
So when you do this on,
that was where your focal point was.
yeah, when you do this, so it's unguided. And if you go to, they have a thing called Zoom Burst, but you can put the zoom exactly where you want it. And, she's not really that sharp, actually. She's just sharper than the rest of the picture. But so I just moved the arrow over to her, clicked on it, and the zoom appeared off of her. It's a really rather simple thing to do in Photoshop Elements. And you can do a little less zoom and see more of the reality of the scene, or you can create it totally abstract. And let's go the next one. Where's the next one? Okay, so another rule, if you will, is, people say, oh, that scene is oversaturated. It doesn't look real. I happen to love color. So I'm gonna show you all these. And if anyone, if I'm going too slow or anything, people just tell me and we'll move on. This was just an abstract of this wind spinner that I took, and as it was spinning, but I overly saturated the colors because I just thought they were so much fun and so powerful. And you know, okay, a lot of people say, well, you can get away with that in abstract. This was an architectural thing that I did a few things with. I created a sense of movement in here, but again, overly saturated the colors. So it's not real anymore. It's more like a piece of art for me. And what I did here, this was actually done in Topaz, because in Topaz, what you can do is you can take the scene and then twirl it slightly and then go through opacity and see how much of the original you want to see and not. And then you have pictures over pictures. So it's kind of like a weird double exposure. But again, what I'm use this as an example again for color. This was a night scene up at Bert Aronson Lake. And are the colors a little oversaturated? Yeah, they are. But they, to me, it gave it kind of an otherworldly feeling, which I, again, thought was fun. This was a bowling alley in Boca Raton. This is, again, kind of intentional camera movement, where I was turning the camera, turning the lens to create some kind of movement in the neon lights. But then I really dialed up the color because personally, again, I like color. Here's one that was at the Renaissance Fair. And first of all, it's a really busy shot. There's so much going on. There's so many ribbons on her. She obviously doesn't have any teeth, but it was, for those of you who were there, it was a very bright, sunny day, and everything got kind of washed out. And I just kind of like, but there's so much color here. So I really overly saturated it to bring out all those little bits of color in there as much as I could.
Love that picture.
This
That's a
is-
character study.
This is the underside of the Fort Lauderdale water tower. Not Fort Lauderdale.
Lake Worth?
Sorry, what was used to be called Fat City. And these are not the colors. The colors are really, first of all, this shot is done with a mirror image. So split the shot in half. That was the shot. You can do that very easily in guided in Photoshop Elements. But the water tower itself is very, very faded from the sun. But I brought up the colors as much as I could, and I just loved it. It did win some awards as an abstract. So again, color is something I like. This is another quick example of just dialing up the color. This was just at the Lake Worth Festival, the street painting festival, and I loved all the colors on this hand, but they weren't really popping the way I saw them in person. So dialed them up. And this is one of my favorite shots from the Day of the Dead. Again, the colors were bright here, but dialed them up even more because I thought they were so intense and so beautiful. So just another rule that, not everything has to be realistic. It depends what you're going for. And, again, as an artist, this is a short one. So, now I can't move this. Where is it? So there's the rule of thirds. So that you should never do the horizon in the center of the page. To me, what got me about this was the beautiful reflection at Lake Ida, not Lake Ida, at Green Cay. And I just love dividing it halfway. To me, it was just like a mirror image, except if you look in the right corner, there is a bird peeking out of the water. But, most people would say, oh, you gave too much, it's divided too evenly. It may be so, but again, this won a bunch of awards, as did this one, which was the same type of thing. This was also at Green Cay. It's not quite in the middle, but it's pretty close. But it's not about thirds here. It's but capturing, for me, what was interesting was capturing the shapes that got mirrored and the beautiful colors. Here's one more in that. Again, it's not thirds, but I didn't want to cut the clouds because I loved that. And I didn't want to cut the water because I loved the reflections and the ripples. So again, the point of this is really about, not about necessarily just breaking rules, but about trying other things and seeing what you like as an artist. So another thing is about always straighten the horizon line. Well, I don't always like straightening the horizon line. This was a shot at Key Biscayne, and it was, a shot of Miami, but I loved the angle of it because I loved the fact that it felt like almost like a movie, like moving in on that beautiful landscape.
David, did you use one of those zoom bursts on this?
No, this is actually how I shot this. This was actually, as Anne said, turning the lens of the camera.
Oh,
Or no, it was just going in and out with the lens. And with a slower shutter speed. And it kind of gave it a little painterly effect too.
yeah.
You never know what's going to happen when you do that. There's this needs to be cleaned up, but there's someone, a friend of ours who shoots intentional camera movement all the time. The thing is, you never really know what you're going to get. So it's fun to try. And again, for me, about this thing about always keeping the horizon straight, yeah, sometimes I like to tilt it. So here is, this is actually just a straight shot. This is not intentional camera movement. It was just a straight shot at Loxahatchee. And there was just something almost abstract about it. I loved the little bit of the grass and the water in the foreground. And then I loved the texture in the skies. But when it was straight, it just looked like, I have plenty of shots of them straight. And this made it feel a little different for me.
I
Here's
have a question
sure.
about, because I see you're doing a lot of diagonals. So
Yeah.
is there a rule about diagonals?
No, I mean, I think it's just, no, I really think there is not a rule about it. I mean, some people don't object if you do it right into the corners of the frame, so it looks perfect. I've tried it all different ways, and it's just, again, for each of us, it's kind of aesthetically different. And some
Mhm.
people like it and some people will not. And what happened here, by the way, too, this was a moving the camera, and you see what happened was it almost looks like a skyline there, but it really was just the trees moving up um, as I moved it. But there were, yeah, I guess that's my point overall, is that, there aren't really, in my mind, just do what you think is right. For you, aesthetically, it may not please everybody, but it should please you. If we're running late, tell me, I'll just skip some of these, but there's always there's a lot now. Um, it's always the idea of, when you're shooting something, keep it simple. Just move this. Next time I'll take them all off in advance. So this is a really busy shot. And a lot of times we say, oh, that shot is too busy. I don't know what to focus on. But in a way, this was the whole point. That was the whole point of this shot. The beach was crowded. There was this American flag in the middle. There were all these different umbrellas, all these different people. Um, I, I just found it interesting almost as a photojournalistic shot. Um, this is the crowd on the beach. So it's not simple. But to me, it appealed to me, and there was kind of a softness to the horizon beyond. Again, this is a shot that would still need to be cleaned up, but for me, yes, it broke the rules. Here's another shot. This was a shot, it's actually tilted. There were all these shadows going on all these pathways. The actual shot is like that, but I kind of turned it on its side, and to me, it was pure abstract. And yes, it's very busy, but I love the way all the lines are going. And yeah. Let's see, where did I have the others? These were I forget, I think it was I think it was at Super Blue, which is a great place to go for immersive stuff. But they were this photographer friend was standing in the aisle, and there were all these reflections of her all over the place. And I was like, wow. Again, a very, very busy shot. Do I know where to look? Eventually, yeah. But I love the fact that to me, sometimes when it's busy, it involves me and asks me to kind of look in and look further. And I look over and I see all these different shapes and colors and reflections. And
Graphic lines everywhere.
yeah, so, that interests me.
Right.
I'm
Yeah.
just going to go on to some of the, where are the others? Yeah, sometimes people say, oh, you shot this. I don't know what it is. And, it doesn't matter. You don't, when you see a modern painting, there's usually not an explanation of why they did it or what it was originally or whatever. It's just you like the abstraction of it or the feel of it. So there's a sculpture in front of the movie theater in downtown Del Rey. And I just shot into it and I just love the pattern of it. I mean, you could kind of see my silhouette taking the picture in the center at the bottom, but it doesn't really matter where I took this or what it is. It's just, to me, it's just an interesting patterns and interesting graphics. This was at the train museum and it's the side of a train. And I just thought the lines and the reflections and the colors, to me, were really interesting. Where did I put those? Oh, so Anne will recognize these. We were
Yeah.
we were in a fast food place on Atlantic Avenue, and we looked up and saw this chandelier on the ceiling, and we all took different pictures of it. And then I played with the colors and filters and whatever. But you know, if someone looked at me and goes, well, that doesn't look like a chandelier, it doesn't matter. I just like the shapes and the angles and the curves and whatever. I mean, this is the same chandelier, just taken without the filters, just straight on, just looking up. And you know, to me, it just looks like an eye, and really weird. But that's what I liked about it. And again, so I don't think, you know, when people ask, well, but if I don't know what it is it a good picture? Yeah, it is if you like it. And one more other quick, interesting rules. The rule is, you know, you should cut out what isn't important to the story. And so people have said to me, this shot, which was in the car, a reflection in the hood of a car at the auto show at Meisner Park. And someone said to me, yeah, but you should have cut out the guys on the side looking. But to me, that kind of added to the story, and put it kind of at the car show. So yes, it'd be a great shot if I took that out, but I also personally like that. So, you know, everyone has a different interpretation. And that's really all I'm trying to say. Here is a shot. This woman was walking across this huge lot. Well, why didn't you move in close to her? Why do you need to see all that? To me, this was a great minimalistic shot. It's just all the space in front of her, around her, and just her walking through it. I really enjoyed that. And it made me want to look at her even more. If I went in really closer to her, yeah, it'd be an interesting shot of a woman with a handbag, but I didn't want to cut out all the other space. And there's one more in this category, which is a shot that I personally love, which was just capturing this guy sitting there with his head down on these steps and this shadow of a line going up the steps. And I called it marginalized. I just felt that's what it is. So a number of people have said to me, oh, well, why do you need all that space behind him? Why don't you just cut it like right to his back and really focus on him? And it's like, to me, all the space makes him feel more alone, makes him feel more sad. So to me, all that space that has nothing in it is really important to this story.
Lost
So
in the world. Yeah.
I hope everyone has, I just have a few more. Yeah, let me just pull these out and get it over with. Okay. Um, I apologize for running late on this, but so this is architectural rules. So out. So love this building in Miami. It's just the shapes and the textures overall, but I loved shooting this at an angle. And some people may say, well, it's building, you should shoot it straight on. And I did shoot it straight on. But to me, this creates a tension and a lot of energy by this building almost moving up to the sky, and it just creates another feeling for me. You know, when you shoot architecture, you should shoot it clearly. Well, this was a scene, I was in a museum and they had this window, this glass that was frosted and made, it had all this graph on it. And I just thought it was interesting to shoot the buildings outside, which were very bright, and the sky through the window. It's just a different way to look at it. And is it the perfect shot of that skyline? No, but to me it was different. And I think too, when you think about, for me anyway, when you think about like entering contests, you know, a lot of us all go to the same places, shoot the same things. How do I do something that's a little different? This was shot in Boston. And some people are a little confused by it. Like, what am I looking at? What is it reflecting? Which way is it going? That's what appealed to me, that you didn't know exactly what you were looking at because of the reflections. And this was another shot that's the Boca Museum included in their show. Just again, a different way of looking. And quickly, just two more. You know, I need space. This was in here before. You know, people say a shot has to be tack sharp. Well, sometimes you don't want it sharp. Sometimes it conveys a mood. As in this, it was two women sitting in a bar and it was smoky and the picture's kind of grainy. But this also got a nod from the Color Awards last year. It's not a sharp picture, but it kind of, the softness creates a mood. I won't go through all of them. This one is my grandmother. She's actually lying on a black couch and it's my wife's hand. But it looks like she's flying in the air, but it's soft. And I don't mind that it's soft. First of all, it's a baby, and it's also the idea that she's moving. So I like that it wasn't tack. I don't think I would like it if it was tack sharp. And the last one I'm just going to show you here is this was, I found it to be a beautiful shot of capturing, I forget, where is that bridge again, Ann?
That's the Stewart Bridge. That's a Roosevelt Bridge up in Stewart.
Right. And I loved the way it kind of captured the lights and the glow off of them and the reflection, everything. So I really like that. And if you look in, you know, the Color Awards or some of the others, there are a lot of shots of this bridge.
Yep.
It looks like you're standing in the water to get the shot.
There was actually a pier right in front of it.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, it's a really great shot and I love it, but I also like this shot which was, it may be a little hot right now, but this was done with a slow shutter speed. Actually, it wasn't that, this was just actually just moving the camera because it was
Yeah, it
so
looks
deep out. And it just created this blur. And this work still I would do on it, but I thought it was interesting and created a different impression of that bridge. And I think the last folder,
Oh, wait, can I just ask a question?
sure, absolutely,
The first of the two bridge pictures, the
right?
lights have like this interesting kind of starburst
Yep.
effect. Did you use a filter on your lens?
No, I did not.
What
So,
makes that happen is depending upon the wide angle, you get what you pay for sometimes, okay? But if you get a wide angle lens that has maybe the 9 diaphragm blades on it, and it's a good wide angle, it will give you that starburst on a high f-stop. So if you're up around an f22,
yep,
f18, f22, even an f16 might do it. In the dark with a good wide angle lens with those 9 blades on it and the diaphragm, you'll get it.
Hmm.
You'll get it.
yeah, actually, Anne taught me how to do that on this shoot. But yeah, it's a great look when you can get it.
Yeah.
And where was the last folder? Oh, yeah, this one. Don't shoot anyone else's art, which is a subject that comes up all the time.
The
So I'm just gonna,
continuing ongoing fight about that
right,
conceptual.
a lot of discussion, and there's, in my mind, there's no right or wrong. It's just opinion. So I agree that the right is that you shouldn't shoot a piece of art that, like, someone painted a painting and you shoot the whole painting. You can do that for your own personal use to remember that painting. But if you're going to enter it in anything, it's not really fair because it's someone else's. So I shot this, which was a mannequin. And, your definition of art can be anything. I mean, architecture is somebody's art too, but we tend to think of it this differently. This was a mannequin, but it's not the lighting that I saw it in. It was shot in Lake Worth during one of their street painting festivals. It was very bright, and I did blur the picture a little. And this ended up on the cover of Black and White magazine. And yes, and they knew it was a mannequin. They knew it wasn't a real person.
But you made it your own, David. You gave that, you worked on this shot enough that you made this your own. It's not just a simplistic copy of the mannequin's head.
Right. So here's another example of a mannequin. It was in the Boca Mall town center. This was in the Neiman Marcus window. And I just went for a close-up. It was not dramatic lighting. It was very bright. I added shadows to it. And this was also ended up in Black and White magazine as part of a portfolio. And yes, the mannequin is something someone else created. But again, and you could see I kind of added these kind of textured circles on the side. There was a little texture I added to the face too. But it felt like a very old Barbara Stanwyck movie to me.
Oh, yeah.
So that's what I loved about it. And this is just, again, changing the lighting. I just saw this in a window, and it was 2 mannequin hands practically touching, but not quite. And if I had cropped out, you might think they were just women's hands, but I love the fact that they were mannequins. And it's not a perfect shot. There are reflections going through it. You see those lines. But again, got a nod in one of the award shows. but it was obviously not just a shot of the whole mannequin or whatever. And this is a perfect example. There was an art show, and this guy did old photographs of women from like the early 1900s on sheer panels. And what I did was I just shot through the sheer panels so that you could see all of them and you can see through them. And in a group we belong to, the Art of Photography, this was the first award I won from them. Yes, it's all someone else's art, but it creates a different, I wasn't just shooting each one individually. I was trying to create a mood of what it felt like looking through all of them. And then the last one was we all went to Mad Arts. And there they had this room where they had these bicycle wheels and they had saws and ladders and blah, blah, and they had all kinds of projections behind it and over it and whatever. And I took this picture, and it was a strange thing. We're not all exactly sure why, but a lot of it wasn't all these bright colors, but that's what came out on my camera. And then I did enhance it a little, but I just thought it was an incredible abstract shot. And actually the artist was there, and he was interested in how we were creating all these other pieces of art from his art. So basically, again, it's all subjective. This was the last thing I just wanted to show you, which I thought was fun. The idea to me is just to have fun and be a little free. And this was an actual reflection in the water at it was at Green Cay. That was the shot. But I turned it around and I just thought it looks
Ghost like eye, ears.
Yeah, and so I just played with it, and I guess all I'm saying is, yeah, you do have to know the rules, but it is fun to try different things and break them and try to me, the most important thing about a picture is getting someone to look at it. And if you want someone to look at it, you gotta kind of do something a little different.
Yeah,
And try.
I'm sharing your screen, sweetie.
Okay.
And when he says somebody to look at it, you want them to look at it and you want them to feel engaged. You want them to stay with it. You want them to keep looking at it, keep tearing it apart, keep looking to see what the intent was. So can you hold a viewer? Can the picture hold a viewer rather than, oh yeah, look, that's nice, and you walk away? So that's difficult, very difficult.
And again, I just can't emphasize enough, you might not like everything I've showed you, but all I'm just saying is just try things and see what happens and see what you like. And as one of the teachers said, if everyone likes your picture, everyone likes it all the same way, it's probably not a great artistic picture, because if everyone likes it, then it's kind of it's probably a little bit mediocre. So just try to do something a little different and have fun. And your take on breaking the rules could be totally different than mine, and that's fine.
Anybody have any questions they would like to?
Well, can I just say something, please?
Sure.
Dave, I enjoyed your presentation, and I really have so much to learn. But what I did learn today is that you love taking pictures.
Yes, I do.
And that shows in all your shots.
Thank
I
you.
think that's part of becoming a good photographer, is really enjoying what you're doing. and you showed all of us how much you do enjoy and how much time you spend on each frame, you know, and each picture, making it the way you see it and the way you love it. So I think that's really great. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I do want to
Hmm.
say that the first teacher I had was Irene Hill, which a lot of
Right.
you know. And well, I didn't even know how to use the camera. And she said, the only way you'll learn and learn how to see things is if you shoot something every day. And you know what? That was right before the pandemic. So during the pandemic, I had nothing to do. So I started shooting something every day. But I still pretty much do that, even if it's around the house or just outside or whatever. So thank you, Vivian.
That's great. And your titles are very creative too. I love them.
Thank you.
Let's talk about that for a minute, because that's one of the things we're going to try to move forward with in terms of, all of us have said the same thing when we're judging the pictures. We're like, titles matter. They really do matter. They lead you a little to the photographer's intent. They set a mood when you're looking at the picture. You've got to spend more time really thinking. Blast the picture, show it to somebody else, say to somebody else. I do it all the time. It's like, I don't know what to call this. I know the picture's there, I know what I feel, but I can't come up with names. I'm not good with that. So we bounce them around with each other and saying, got any suggestions for this? And just bounce it around to get a little help. Show it to other people, see what they feel, see what they see in the picture. And but the titles, we've got some that are sorely lacking in creativity, and we've got to step up with that one. That's got to get fixed. Yeah.
You know, so I don't know whose shot it was, and I remember it was a really good shot I was looking at, and it was somebody lying down on a park bench, and it was just man on a bench. But you know, there's an emotion to it too. So can you name it, you know, tired or lonely or something that conveys what attracted you to the picture, to that shot?
Yeah. What made you shoot it?
Yeah.
You know, what makes you shoot it? What attracted you to it? What pulled you? So kind of go from there and figure it out. But anybody else have any last?
My other comment was in some of the pictures that you have with so many patterns and they're architectural or abstract, do you just focus in on a part of the picture? Like there's probably 100 pictures in one of those pictures.
Yeah, sometimes there is. Sometimes like I'll see a picture and then start breaking it down and it becomes something else. I think
Establishing shot.
exactly. Take the establishing shot of the entire building or whatever it is, and then take other shots where you go in closer. Sometimes you end up doing that in editing, but it's better if you could do it while you're there and move at different angles and different focal lengths.
Different angle, different perspective, get down low, try to find, is there another way to get a vantage point up high and do more of a perspective of elevated versus aerial, or just kind of look around and see what you can do to come up with a different perspective, and then isolate. And then start to take sections out and isolate sections. Then go home and look at them and then turn them, twist them, flip them. See if you see something different in them.
So Doris, to your point, that a picture I showed you that was it was black and white. It was shot in front of the movie theater in Delray. It was just pattern, really. But I also used that pattern as a background for something else. So I had this really colorful picture of a butterfly that I created. And then I used that as a background. And it just gave it a different texture. So sometimes you shoot these things and you don't know what you're going to do with them. And then you think, oh, you try a few different backgrounds in something and, you never know what's going to work.
Great. It's a great
I have-
presentation. I enjoyed it.
Thank
I
you,
have a
Dave.
comment.
Very nice.
I have a comment. I just want to say thank you, David, so much for this presentation. This was a really good one for me personally, because when I'm out shooting, I have these rules in my head, and I think sometimes it hinders my creative process when I'm shooting. And so thank you so much for doing this. So now I know it's more important to be really true to yourself and your own vision and what feels right to you as the photographer and the artist than worrying about so much about the rules.
You know, I just want to add that, so I was in advertising for years, and you had your own portfolio, and you had a portfolio of your work, and you'd go show it to one person, and they'd say, oh, I would take this out, and I would take this out, and I don't like this, but this I would definitely keep, and this, and then you go to someone else, and they go, why did you take that out? I love that.
Right.
You know, and it's the same thing with photography. And there have been, we were talking before everyone got on too, that there are times like I've won an award for something, and then I entered into another contest, and they don't even look at it.
Happens all the time.
It happens constantly.
Kind of
So
developing
it-
your skin.
it's the whole thing about art is it's subjective. And but if you really feel good about it, I think that's the point, Leslie, that you should be true to yourself.
Right.
You know, I had to do a presentation on, one of the founders of photography, Stieglitz or whatever. And he was, when he first saw Picasso's paintings, he brought them to the US. And the reviews were like, just like the worst kind of reviews in the world. And, you know, now if someone had one of those original paintings, they'd be worth millions of dollars.
Yep.
So it's all totally subjective, and, you know, styles go in and out and everything, but yeah, in the end, you got to do what's right for you.
Hmm. Well, thank you again. It's
Yeah.
always a joy to see your photography. So thank you.
You.
Okay, we all set? All right.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Anne.
Thank you.
Thank
All right,
you.
thank you. Thanks, Anne.